Wendy Stapleton. Welcome to Wrokdown, coming to you live from Musicland. Well, in the Australian entertainment industry, there aren't a lot of acts that you can just recognise from simply one name. There's Farnsey, there's Barnsey, there's Molly, there's Mossy, and there's Coxy.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Geoff Cox. Musician, television presenter, radio host, you name it, he can do it.
I've worked with you, what, 30 years? You've got a plum in your mouth. Why are you saying hello and welcome to Wrokdown? Why are you speaking all proper?
Because...
You never speak proper. Normally you can't speak at all when I come to think about it.
As you can see, this is going to be a very interesting interview.
It is.
We have known each other for way too long. Way too long.
Here.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
It has. It's been a very long time. And as a matter of fact, we actually, even these days, we bump into each other at the gym, believe it or not.
I usually go there.
I exercise and
I go there to
gags.
open the bar.
Yeah. OK, let's start at the beginning because I can't think of anything better to do with you. Of course, I don't call you Coxy. Most people call you Coxy. I call you Geoff. Or if you're in trouble.
Yes, Jeffrey.
So, Jeffrey...
Yes, dear.
Let's start at the beginning because the thing is that a lot of people who have actually seen you on television, radio, and know you as a drummer but don't realise that you actually started in the music industry as a very young boy.
Yeah, I did.
So tell us about your beginnings, and in actual fact you were on one of the very earliest Victorian television shows, rock shows.
Absolutely. I started 1967. I turned pro. Me and my E.K. Holden, salmon and white, with a white roof, of course. And I got the job playing drums with Rusty Wiley, as we call him, or Ross D. Wiley, on Uptight, which became Happening 70. And Keith McKay, whom you know, we had a band called the Keith McKay Trio. We used to work 6 nights a week at the Village Green. And we got the job because Keith could play all the instrumentals. And if you remember Time Is Tight, Green Onions, all those songs, well, we used to go on the show and play those songs. Didn't ever sing.
Yeah, because a lot of the songs back then were instrumental.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And interestingly enough, Ross came to the idea that it was Uptight, which was 4 hours, right? It was 8 till 12 on a Saturday morning. But then we became the Uptight 5th hour. And so we did an hour on stage and we took our life in our hands because you'd be at Penny Lane in Frankston and an hour later you'd be playing at some dance out in Coburg somewhere. And I don't know how we obviously didn't kill ourselves, but we had a great time. But the reason I turned professional is I was a commercial cadet with the SEC and I was on $57 a fortnight. I remember this vividly. And they said, can you do 6 nights a week at the Village Green? 7 till 10, mind you. Like, you could have still done a day job, but no, not me. 7 till 10, $85 a week, and became the best 10-pin bowler you've ever seen in your life. We used to go 10-pin bowling every day, and I changed from the E.K. Holden to a brand new Fairlane, and it was just huge. I mean, we were making so much money, and we were having such a good time, and then a fellow called Ken Simpson joined the band who had a speedboat. So we used to rehearse from 9 till 12 on a Wednesday morning. Then we go up to Caribbean Gardens and ski all afternoon. Like, we had a tough life.
It was a terrible life.
And
it continued on.
It did. It got worse from there. It definitely got worse because we went from there. The first big tour, we finished up touring with the Bee Gees. And we went to New Zealand.
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, and that was when the band was Cycle, which was David Briggs from Little River Band.
Yeah.
Myself, a fellow called Rick Berger, and Keith McKay on piano. And I became really good mates with Maurice Gibb. And he said, you know, Coxy, you should come back. This is great. You should come back to America. And I went, oh, I don't know. This is when we had Lonely Days, Lonely Nights, and good old Barry would get up there and he'd tell them all to sing. I can remember it as if it was yesterday.
He didn't get you to sing, did he?
No, they told me to shut up.
I knew that.
And I looked at Maurice straight in the face and I said, look, I'd love to do it, but I reckon you passed it. And he went, what? I said, well, Lonely Days, great, but I don't reckon you got anything more in you. 6 months later, they had Saturday Night Fever. You can get it wrong occasionally. So I never forget, there was my dad and mum, when they were around, Russell Morris, Keith and I, around the piano, with Dad playing Gee, But It's Great after being out, like Walking My Baby Back
Yes,
Home,
I'm glad
with Morris Gibb
you
and
remembered
Barry
the correct
Gibb
words.
singing
Yes.
in the lounge room at my house.
And Geoff's mum and dad, your mother was beautiful.
Mrs. C.
Mrs. Cox.
It became embarrassing,
Dad was
though.
like the colonel, wasn't he?
He was an army colonel, and Mum was embarrassing because she was a wonderful cook. So anybody that had a birthday, like Thorpe or Ray Brown in those days, or Ronnie Burns, any of them, we'd always rehearse at Mum and Dad's house. And they'd say, Mrs. C, they'd get a number and say, it's my birthday, you know. So she'd make the chocolate cake. I remember coming down with Thorpe once, and Thorpe came in and he said, mate, we've played all this stuff before. Do you reckon we were going to have a bit of cake? So we didn't even strike a blow. We just went out into the kitchen. And when we used to practice, if you remember in those days, there was a shadow box with all these little ornaments in it. Well, Mum used to stand under it. When I started to hit the bass drum, she used to catch things because they'd all fall out onto the floor, you know. Yeah, they were wonderful days. There was a photo on the piano and Ronnie Burns came round and he said, is that you? And it was a painting of me when I was 7 years old by a very famous painter.
I remember this story, you told me this, yeah.
Burnsy pulled up in his blue Monaro when Monaros had first come out, like really sharp car. And he's come in and he said, is that you? And I said, yeah, of course it's me. I was about 19, I guess. And he said, you used to live in St Kilda. And I went, yeah. And he said, you used to knock round with a kid called DJ at a cake shop in High Street in St Kilda. I said, yeah. And his mate. And I said, yeah, because his mum used to work at the cake shop. He said, yeah, you idiot. He said, that was me. And I've still got at home the Lancaster bomber. And if you open the front cover, there it is. To Jeffrey, with love, Ron Burns. And when we couldn't believe it, 19 years later, and he turns up in East Bentley in his new Monaro, and there's a painting of me on the piano. True story.
Outside the shop?
No, what shop?
The cake shop?
No, it was at my mum and dad's place.
Oh, I don't know. I can't keep up.
The blonde thing is kicking in as we speak. This could get worse, folks.
I thought it was painted outside the cake shop.
No, that was Ronnie's mum used to work at the cake shop.
You can tell we've known each other a long time. This is like, God's sakes.
She was nice. Ronnie's mum.
Nice?
Yeah, she's a nice lady.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, Tiff.
Thank you very much.
So?
What else do you want to know? How do you reckon it's going so far, Wen? Do you want me to sing yet?
I don't want you to sing ever.
That's really cool.
Although,
Oi?
At the end of the day, we could get Everyone's Making It Big.
Everybody's making it big but me, we could. But then, no, we haven't got a guitar player.
We won't do that.
No, we won't.
Okay, so, fabulous. Television days. Then, as you said, you joined Cycle.
Yeah.
Or you're in Cycle. Mm-hmm. Then, am I correct, the Paul McKay sound?
No,
not
actually right. That was Cycle right up till 73 when we were at the Tottenham pub. And Cad, Brian, came out one night and he said, you can't stay here all your life playing 5 nights, 6 nights a week. By this stage, we're on $185 a week. We're making a lot of money in those days.
Yeah.
He said, you've got to come on the road. And I said, I'm doing a new album. And I said, oh, okay, well, what are we going to do? He said, well, what we'll do, you play drums, you're going to, and I'll give you the recording sessions and I'll get you into recording. Well, it was probably the best thing I ever did because Tony Nada and I still argue that he played on 29 and I played on 28, or I played on 29 and he played on 28 gold albums out of Armstrong Studios. Played on everything for everybody.
They were wonderful days.
They were great days.
And also, we're going to go to a short break, but this is the beginning of what became the Bootleg Band, is that correct?
The Bootleg family, yes
okay.
It is.
We'll take a short break, be back soon with Coxy from the Roxy. Welcome back to Wrokdown. My special guest tonight is the one and only Mr. Geoff Cox.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So tell me about, I guess there were the sessions,
Yeah.
and then also Ron Tudor had a massive influence on the music industry. Just tell us a bit how all of that sort of eventuated.
If you remember in those days, 74, Whitlam came to power, and one of the things he wanted to do was build the arts. So all of a sudden, Cad and the Bootleg family were booked to do Spokane in Washington, in America. So we still argue with Ross Wilson. He always said Daddy Cool was the first, but apparently we were. I'm not going to get into that fight, but I think we were the first to play there. And when we got over there, the record, which was Let Go, which was Cad's record, got to number 8 in Seattle. And they invited us down to LA, and we did Don Kirshner's rock concert and also Wolfman Jack's show, the really big show. And then we were given 24 hours to get out of the country because we had the wrong visas. And we all knew that if we didn't leave, we'd never get back in. So all of a sudden, we went from doing rock concert to nationally millions of people, that when we flew home, as you know, if you've been to America, you lose a day. So we flew out on the Thursday, lost the day on Friday, and Saturday night played at the Waltzing Matilda in Warrigal Road. That was very different. There was people fighting and all sorts of stuff. That was when they used to go, yeah, I don't like you, good, have one of these. You know, it was a bit free for all.
Bit of a sort of come down.
Yeah, they were great days. I mean, when we first got there, we stayed at the Holiday Inn on Highland in Hollywood, and the piano player in the Bootleg family, a fellow called Brian Fitzgerald, stepped off the curb, looked the wrong way. We'd been there for 2 hours, and he calls the 6-car pile-up because he looked the wrong way, and all because the cars were coming from that way, not that way. Yeah, so by accident.
Oh, he did?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You should have heard the noise. I was applauding at the time. They didn't go down too well with the coppers. They didn't like me much. But yeah, America was great. And then we came back and we did some more. And then Cad fell in love in America, and he went to America. Left us high and dry, as I continually tell him.
But you had sessions.
I had sessions,
and
but then we
formed
formed the Bootleg family with the 3 girls. Penny
Dyer,
Lou,
Angie Jones, and Lou. Lou Lincoln?
Yeah, and we became the Bootleg family and became huge in Adelaide. I mean, we lived most of 1976 in Adelaide. We
Why
were there
Adelaide?
all the time. I don't know, they just loved us. And they made a fatal mistake though. We used to play at a place called Countdown in Hindley Street. And it was a really old pub upstairs. And they said, you can stay in the pub. It was really clean, but very old. And the bathrooms are down the road, or we'll put you up at the good joint down the road. And we said, why would we stay upstairs? He said, because it's an open bar and you can use the cellar. We said, we'll stay here. It was the worst thing he ever did. Tony found a 1912 Commanderia port, found a case of it. We drank that in the week. It was quite an interesting night and day. Yeah, so that became the Bootleg family, and then from there, I actually left and joined up with you, if you remember, at the Armidale Hotel.
I do. I remember the Armidale Hotel, and we were probably there. These were what Geoff was saying before about working every night of the week, almost. You could work almost every night of the week. We were there 4 nights a week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
And remember, if they didn't like it, if they hassled you, in those days you could say, be very careful, we'll go down the road, which we could, because there was gigs everywhere. So we were always looked after in those days and paid extremely well, plus the fact Keith and I had a house in the same street. We used to walk home, it was true. Or stagger occasionally, but we'd get home. And I was the single man, so I had the pool table in the front room.
Don't go there, Geoff.
And, no, I better not. And then I had the bar in the second room.
Don't go there, Geoff.
And I think there was a kitchen, but I never used it.
Geoff, you never used the kitchen, I can tell you that.
That's true.
We're going to go to a clip, actually, but when we come back, something, well, it was extraordinary in as much as a career move for you. It was very unfortunate for the drummer from Little River Band, Derek Polici.
Yeah, it was.
We will tell you the story, or Geoff will tell you about what happened while we were at the Armidale Hotel. We're going to go to a clip. You know who this is?
Oh, God. No, what a fortune teller? No, of course I don't. Hi, this is
All right, you read it out.
5 Seconds of Fury. Oh, no,
Summer.
Sorry.
It's a clip called Hey Everybody. Let's have a look. Welcome back to Wrokdown. Well, I'm here with my gorgeous, gorgeous bestie, the beautiful Soozie Pinder.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Of course,
Hey,
Soozie gets the great job. She gets to go out and about.
And you're coming out and about with me, I believe, soon.
You just invited me.
Yeah, I did.
Do you feel sorry for me?
No, I just want to hang with you.
Oh, cool.
Because she's naughty.
Who said that?
Oh, everybody.
Oh, really?
The naughtier the better, I say.
That's cool. It's all good. So what have you been up to?
Well, I've had a week away in Cairns, just not working, which was a shock to my system, but with gorgeous hubby and I. And there was a great reef festival at Palm Cove. And I think that we need to be up there next year for that because beautiful bands along the foreshore. And it's a gorgeous place, except you can't go in the beach because a crocodile will rip your guts out and put your head in a bucket and your leg over there. So I didn't see the beach. Anyway, we got back and we went over to Eddie's band room, which is over, I think, Moorabbin Way. And they've been supporting live music. And, of course, I love anybody that supports live music. And we've got Grant in the audience here with Hidden Alley, yes. Wonderful venue.
Wonderful new
Wonderful venue. Supporting our live musicians. Thank you, Grant. So we wander over, Lawrence and I, and there is a band you might recall, Sisters Doll. Now, we had a clip a couple of shows ago, the glam rock.
The gorgeous boys.
Gorgeous boys.
Brothers?
Brothers. 3 brothers from out of Collie in WA. They are absolutely superb because you know I don't like anything that sparkles. You know that about me, don't you? You know, like I don't like a bit of bling. They've brought glam rock back in such a fashion that I just can't wait to go and see them. So we got a great interview with these boys and
Let's have a look.
Let's have a look. Hey guys.
Hey, how you going, Soozie? Thanks for having us.
Now, you got to introduce yourselves because there's a lot of adoring girls out there that would like to know your names, so introduce yourselves.
I'm Aussie Fox, bass, guitar for Sisters Doll. I'm Bryce Lips, I'm the drummer and backing vocals.
And I'm B. Monroe, lead singer and guitarist.
Now, these guys have come over from Collie in Western Australia. They've lived there for many years, all their life. They've moved to Melbourne because they've got such ace management and big things are happening for this band. Tell us a little bit about where you started.
Yeah, Collie was a little small mining town, about 9,000 people. So it was either you get an apprenticeship, you play footy, or you start a band. So we chose a third option. We started a band and we gigged over there for 4 years it was, and we just went up even up to Karratha and back down. We virtually gigged everywhere, Kalgoorlie. And then it got to that point where it was like, you know, we've got to get to that next level, don't we? So we, Peter came across, because I met him at a Gene Simmons luncheon, and he was running the event, and I gave Gene our press kit thinking he might have chucked it in the bin. But he didn't. Peter got in contact with us, so we said...
That'd be Peter Hoffman from Magic Brands.
Yeah. Yep, that's it.
He's your manager.
Yep, our manager. And so, from then it just started. We invited Peter over and we put a big showcase on. We did a big show with confetti, flames, pyro, the whole works. And Peter fell in love with us and said, you know, but unfortunately you're over this side, you know, you've got to be where the masses are, so he said eventually you're going to have to think about moving across. So, which we had been thinking about anyway, but he kind of gave us that initial handball to, you know, give us that push to come over. So that's where we're at now. So we've moved over, been here for about a year and a bit, and we've just been constantly touring and getting the name out over this. So it was sort of like we had to start again, because we had a bit of a loyal fan base over there, and so we had to start again. So but yeah, no, it's good.
Look, these boys are tearing up the town, I can tell you, and every time I go somewhere and they're playing, there's screaming girls with bosoms wanting to be signed out there. Now, you're brothers, so tell us about, you know, what it was like being 3 brothers growing up as musicians.
It was great, you know, we grew up just all loving the same music, and there was just no differences in our musical style. And then, you know, starting the band was easy. We all had the same idea with, you know, we all want to do the same genre, and this is just the stuff we love. So, yeah, it's good.
What's it like to be up there dressed up in the glam rock?
Oh, it's good. I mean, we always love dressing up. We've kind of claimed a new title. We thought we'll try and steer a bit from glam because it's been done, you know. So we thought we're going to try and come up with our own style, which is doll rock, which is going to stand for, you know, energetic live performances, you know, passion, you know, love and enjoyment. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, the world we live in these days, you know, it's very, you know, it can be very harsh and very, you know, depressing, some of the stuff. So we think if you can come to our show for an hour and a half, enjoy that time while you're there and escape from your personal lives for a while. And that's what we do. We're always about the crowd. Like, we want to make the crowd enjoyable. Like, we're having a great time. So if we can enjoy, whether it's 10 people, 100 people, 5,000 people, we're always going to put that same effort into so whoever's there, they enjoyed that time. You know, if they've spent $10 to come see us, we think, well, that's, you know, they've earned the right for a full Sisters Doll show.
You've performed in LA, haven't you?
We have, yes, at the Whiskey A Go Go and at the Hard Rock Cafe, yeah, in Hollywood there. Oh, that was a dream come true. Like, yeah, just.
How'd that come about?
We went over for an entertainment summit where there was like managers and PR people over there. It was like Bruce Kulick from Kiss was there, and it was like a seminar where you could go and like learn more about the music industry, where it's at and stuff. So there was all music of all genres, and so we went there. We glammed up every day to each seminar, and we kind of created a bit of a buzz. And then the gigs came from there. We got to play the Whiskey twice, and then we got to play the Hard Rock Cafe in front of some reps and stuff. So it was a good experience. We got to walk on a red carpet through a PR guy that was working for us at the time, and it was great fun. Yeah.
Now, you've got a great CD out, Austin. Can you tell us a bit about the CD?
Yes, the CD at the moment is Welcome to the Dollhouse, and it's our first album, it's our debut album, and it's just songs that's, you know, how can I explain it? It's a good rockin' album, and if you buy it, I'm sure you'll love it.
Where can they get hold of you? Sisters Doll?
Band.com is the best way. So www.sistersdollband.com, and that's got everything: our Facebook links, shows, videos, all sorts. Yeah. One-stop shop. Yeah. Oh, it's got a shop on there too. We can pre-order vinyl.
And very, very cool T-shirts. See, I've got the T-shirt. Vinyl I love.
Vinyl.
Okay.
That'll be out soon, actually. So if you like vinyl, it'll be here within the next couple of months. Or not months, probably another month. So, yeah,
okay.
Cool.
Thank you, guys. Thank you again. Over and out for Wrokdown TV.
So Sisters Doll.
Sisters Doll.
And they're so enthusiastic and so
amazing.
Excited about everything. I hope that doesn't change.
It's not going to change because I'm sworn to secrecy and they've given me a scoop. But their album is going to be produced by someone quite known internationally next year. And these guys are the next big thing. And if Molly was here, he'd be saying it.
Do yourself a favour.
Do yourself a favour. They are amazingly beautiful gentlemen. They 3 brothers in a little town, Collie in WA.
So just the 3 of them on stage?
Yeah. And they put on pyrotechnics and they give the full show. It doesn't matter if they're paying to 10 people or 100 people. If they've performed on the stage here. They are outstanding, and they're bringing their music out on vinyl. That's, heaven to my ears. But they are something else. They really are showmen. The little guy with the top hat is 17, and they drive up and down the highway and go to Townsville regularly. And the cops pulled him over recently, right? And they said, "What's in the back?" And there's just the 2 up front, and the little one's asleep up the back with no safety belt on a mattress. And he's heard the coppers, so he's rolled down between the mattress and the door of the van and thought, "I'll just lie here and pretend that I'm not here." But the cop goes, "Of course, I want to search the van." And he pulls the door open and he rolls out on the cop's feet. And they were warned, "You've got to sit up front and I won't book you." And good boys, they sat up the front all the way to bloody Townsville.
Oh,
that van.
They seem absolutely gorgeous. Are they based in Sydney
Melbourne.
or Melbourne?
Peter Hoffman, who works here often, looking for bands and scouting bands, who's mentored them, but he said you must come to Melbourne. So the whole family have relocated to Melbourne. The dad's on his way over, and there's a secret weapon, a 4th brother, Sage. He's only 14, but he's too interested in footy and cricket at the moment. He hasn't discovered girls, but women go ballistic. They did. They asked for bosoms to be signed, and they're really quite gorgeous boys. So please watch out for them and support them if you can.
And obviously, the only thing they're going to need now is a fabulous, fabulous support.
Oh.
But we can't say anything, can we?
No, we can't. We cannot say a word. We cannot. But there are very big things coming for those boys, and the world is their oyster.
Well, when they're doing a gig around here, you've got to let everyone know.
Yeah.
We'll all go.
Yeah.
All go along and
We'll
support
post it on
Sisters
the
Doll.
Yeah, Wrokdown website. We'll post it. They're up to date. They've got some great promotional material. They are wonderful. It's refreshing, and for me, because I loved Slade, I love Gary Glitter, I love Sweet. So for me to see that brought back, but with an edge to it, it is just magnificent. Lawrence and I were over in Adelaide a few months ago with the Hall of Fame thing with Mick. And I'm walking through the mall and I hear, Suze! And it's the boys in the full outfit doing a free gig in the Rundle Mall. So they deserve every bit of success.
They do.
Yeah.
Good on them. Well, thanks, Suze. And next time I see you, it'll be both of us out and about.
I hope so.
It will be, don't you?
What do you
worry.
say, boss? No, she's saying no. We'll just do it ourselves.
Do it ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't ever
Paulie
do
and
what we're
Lawrence can
told.
go and hang somewhere together.
And Coxy.
They can hang with Coxy, yeah? Or will we bring Coxy with us? Oh.
Thanks, Susie. Would you
Pleasure,
please thank the
darling.
gorgeous Soozie Pinder and Sisters Doll,
Sisters
who are going to
Doll.
be absolutely huge. We'll be back soon. Welcome back to Wrokdown. I'm here with the very naughty
Very naughty.
Geoffrey Cox, Coxy from the Roxy. We were talking about the Roxy before, and just before we go any further, look, quite a while ago there was a shocking fire at what was the Roxy, and it was the motel, and it was about to open as a new club, and that is a very sad...
Absolutely. They're going to have live music and everything too.
Very sad, but next door to the Roxy, of course, is Hidden Alley.
Yep.
Grant and Jane are here tonight. Just before we go any further, and I'm throwing to the audience, which I never normally do, are you going to be able to get back and up and running? We don't know. You don't know? Anyway, we give you all of our thoughts and support because
absolutely.
fabulous
They do a lot
venue,
for
and
it,
we
yeah.
hope
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
can get it back up and running because they support live music.
It's funny, seeing those young boys, because my new band, we're sponsored by Johnson & Johnson incontinence pads. It's a little bit different to those lads, I suppose.
What are you going to call yourself?
Pardon?
What are you calling the band?
Joe Banana and his bunch, the band with a peel. Band with a peel. But get it? I got to explain them to her.
Yeah, no, you don't. You don't.
Anyway, moving on.
Moving on. Actually, going back, I should say, we were talking about our fabulous gigs years ago at the
wonderful.
Armadale and all those places. Now, unfortunately for Derek Polici, who's the drummer in Little River Band, he had a shocking accident in the early 80s, or was
Yeah,
it
1978.
1978? I'll let you take the story up, Geoff.
I got a phone call on the Monday morning from David Briggs. I heard about it on the Sunday, and he said, look, it'll only be for a couple of months because Derek will be back. But I didn't know, but with plastic surgery with burns, the back of your hands
his
here,
hands,
it's very hard to make that take. In other words, you wear elastic over them apparently. And cutting a long story short, I finished up doing nearly 12 months with the boys, which probably was the best 12 months of my life. We played at the Dallas Cotton Bowl to 80,000, 90,000 people with Fleetwood Mac, and it was just wonderful. But there is one story. Shorik hates me telling it. We played in Detroit and we died. Oh God, we died. We only died in two places, there and Philadelphia. They call them black audiences because there was the band that was the feature was a band called Kool and the Gang. And we had 6 ladies of the night sitting right there, 6 in a row. Hey, honey, you're wasting your time up there. Why don't you come back to my place? And Shorik's going, oh, God. So we sang the whole thing, and they didn't clap much. And so at the end of it, Shorik's depressed. We're having a quiet one in the band room, and he said, oh, let's go back to the pub. So we went back to the pub, and every at the Hilton in Detroit, and every hotel had a house band. And the house band's there, and they're singing Easy on Sunday Morning. And Shorik said, come on, we'll get up and sing. We need this. I need to get back into this. So Easy on Sunday Morning. Shorik and I singing our hearts out. At the end of it, they've gone berserk, clap like crazy. And Shorik said to me, see, we haven't lost it at all. It was just a different audience. So he's walked over, and Shorik's about this big, but he's about 7 foot tall at this stage. He's walked over to the lead singer and he said, yeah, Glenn Shorik, Little River Band. This guy's looked him straight in the eye and said, Lionel Richie, and this is the Commodores. What had happened is that they'd come back, they'd had a gig somewhere else, they'd come back throwing the house band off, and they're up there going, and Shorik and I have jumped up in the middle of the Commodores and had a sing. And Shorik threatened me with, he said, you'll never tell that, will you? I said, no, not me, mate. Because you can tell all the wonderfuls, but that is my absolute favourite story. Yeah, Glenn Shorik, yeah, Lionel Richie, how are you? Oh, yeah. That's absolutely true.
Oh, well, look, I know that it was very hard for Derek. Of course, as Coxy said, he had an accident and
He very badly burnt
himself badly. But so 12 months with LRB and like at the time that they were the biggest band Australia had actually exported.
Yeah, they had Reminiscing at number 2, and it was your real. We didn't do buses very much. When they started, they were in big tour buses. We just did aircraft. They flew us everywhere. In fact, we supported the Eagles. In 9 months, we did 3 times through Canada and twice through America, like everywhere.
Yeah.
And only Philadelphia and Detroit did we not do that well. But everywhere else, they were absolutely huge.
So next time I see Glenn, I don't say, that's why I'm easy.
I wouldn't, because he'll deny it. No, Coxy's making it up again. I was there.
Yeah. What was it like for you? Because apart from the band situation, you had also started to move into radio by this stage.
I had.
So when you came back from LRB, even though it was probably disappointing to have to leave that, you went on to have a fabulous radio career.
Yeah, it was really funny how that happened. It started at DB, and then before LRB, and I did crosses. They were paying me a fortune. After about 6 weeks, they figured it was a waste of money, so I got the flick. But when I got back, they gave me the job again, and then 3DB transferred to 3TT, which became Double T FM.
Yeah.
And I worked with Gavin Wood for 2.5, 3 years, and we were number 2 in Melbourne for a long time.
In the last few years, or not few years actually, it's been many, many years, you were the television presenter for, first of all it was called
Postcards for
on
5
Channel
years,
9.
yeah. And then the last 11 years, it's been Coxy's Big Break, which was fantastic because Viv and I, there was no way we were going to educate the boys, so it educated the guys. I got them through school, and that was the greatest thing that ever happened, because I think you would realise as a musician, especially over the last 10 years, unless you were in a LRB, private school fees were so far out of the question, it's ridiculous. So the both boys have got double degrees now and they're doing really well. So.
And your son was part of the team that won the Trop Fest.
Yeah, he won Trop Fest. He was the producer of the movie and they won that. And my other son, Edward, who when Vivian and I were together when he was 14, came over to our place. He said, I'm going to make beer, don't tell Mum. I said, no worries, Ed. And he used to make this beer. Well, since then he's grown some yeast out of a Cooper's Pale Ale bottle, and he grew the yeast and he made a beer, made a pale ale, entered it in the Australia-wide competition and won the lot. And it's great because his beer cost him about 7 cents a bottle, which he gives to his father, which is terrific. So, yeah, the boys are doing really well, and the girls are doing well.
The TV show was brilliant, and apart from what you actually saw on television, of course, you and your beautiful wife Vivian, who's here tonight, hosted many, many trips.
That's what we're doing now. One of the things we're doing is we work for Geelong Travel, and which you can ring Geelong Travel and come with us around the world. Next year, 2016, there's actually 2 seats left for Canada, Alaska. The year after, we do Budapest to
Budapest?
Holland. Amsterdam to Budapest. And then in August, we do another Canada, Alaska. And if that sells really well, we stay for 8 days somewhere in America, and we do it again. We do it twice. So it's just travelling the world is just a wonderful thing to do. And like television, basically, even though I still love it, it finished at exactly the right time for me to do other things, because now I'm playing drums again, which I love.
Well, we're going to take a break, and of course, when when we come back, as you just mentioned,
Don't touch me, Wendy. I've told you about that, Wendy, especially on television. Like,
Coxy and Brian Cadd, some of the bootleg band, have reformed and done an album because it was your 40 years, is that
40th
correct?
year last year.
Yep.
Yep.
So when we come back after this break, we're going to talk about what's happening musically now and all of the exciting things that are going to happen with yourself, the bands, and Brian Cadd's 40th year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we'll be back soon.
Hi, Mick Peeling here with another edition of Mix Picks on Wrokdown TV. The CD I'm going to bring to your attention today is none other than Rick Price, and a CD he brought out probably about 3/4 way through last year, and I can't help but go back to it all the time. It's a wonderful record. It was recorded where he lives now these days in Nashville, and he wrote all the songs, played on everything, just about every instrument with the help of a few friends over there, session musos and whatnot. It's sort of in a country, gospel, soul kind of style, and it's a wonderful listen. My favourite track on it is a track called Days of Gold, and it features a wonderful guitar solo by none other than Tommy Emmanuel. It's a great listen, go check it out. Rick Price with Tennessee Sky.
Welcome back to Wrokdown. My special guest is Geoff Cox, Jeffrey Cox, Coxy from the Roxy. You name it, he's it. We were talking about the television show that you'd been doing for a very long time.
Yep.
That's over. You are going to now be running tours or
Just hosting
tours
Yeah, sure.
all around the world, which is amazing.
It's fantastic.
I'd like to be on one of those trips. Canada and Alaska sounds pretty.
Canada, Alaska is probably, I'd say Viv would suggest too, if you've never been overseas, if you're going to do any of them, that's the best one. Like the Rocky Mountaineer and all that is just mind-boggling.
Brian Cadd and the Bootleg Band this year, and was it last year?
No,
Celebrated.
last year we did it 40 years. And it looks like we're going to go on the road. We'll probably do some stuff over Christmas around the up the Murray and all that, but then March next year. And I said to Cadd, on the road, you see how old we are? I said, we'll die. He said, what a way to go. So the album is great because Ron Tudor, without giving anything away, loved Cadd's ballads, like Let Go, Ginger Man, they were all back. This is more Springsteen. This is all the rock and roll songs that Cadd wrote that have never been done. And the album, if I do say so myself, is just fantastic. It's a real, like the boys said, it's a really honest rock and roll album. It's great. And there's one song on that, without giving anything away, called Slow Walk, and it is a monster hit, if I do say so myself.
And you got, when I say you, the guys, all the original
It's
guys?
the Bootleg family band.
And
It's
the
Gus. It's Gus, Tony Naylor, myself, and Caddy, and Johnny Grant's playing piano. And
Penny Dyer sang vocals
no,
on it
yeah,
again?
she did.
On the recording?
On the recording.
And
But,
Lou came over?
Yeah, the girls, we're going to audition for girls, we thought. We might just get a couple of bottles of wine and get the girls in to sing a few songs, and we'll just pick the best looking ones. Doesn't matter if they can sing or not. Hey, you want to join the band? Good, come over here. Little bit. So we might look old, but we're not. We're not old at all. We're the same age as those blokes.
Now, the other thing that I know that you're sort of trying to get together is reforming a little bit of a sort of the bands at the Roxy. There were so many bands that played at the Roxy. We've all remained amazing friends. Frankie Holden, Wilbur Wilde, Bobby Valentine, and Sweethearts.
Is the other girl who's doing huge damage, who had the number, is going to air in February, had the #1 album last year, blues album, is Colleen Hewitt.
Yep.
And been doing
We had Colleen on the show.
Yeah, doing a lot of work for Colleen. And I got to tell you, she is singing just as well. I played drums on Wind Beneath the Wings and all those things, and she is singing just as well now. Well, same as you are. I mean, some of the survivors you can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all of the people all the time. And people like Stapo and Colleen, Cad, Brady, they're all, Bobby Valentine, they're just great singers. And it makes a huge difference. And last year we did sellouts in Bendigo, sellouts at the Caravan Club. I mean, and Colleen is just, and she's funny.
She's great.
She's just funny.
Well, we had her on the show here, and she was absolutely brilliant. Would you please thank the wonderful Geoff Cox? Coxy from the Roxy. Now, before we go out with a fantastic clip, not from yourself, but from someone else who you'll probably be well aware of, see our beautiful little Wrokdown jewellery box here? Inside, Geoff, is an autograph book, and I think I'd like you to write something gorgeous to me.
This could take a while.
You do that. I'm going to take the show out with a fantastic clip from Dave Gilmour from Pink Floyd. And the song is called Rattle That Lock. Good night, everybody. See you next time.
Good night.
Thanks, Geoff. Good night.